Are you ready? You think you could tell us what to do? You think you could tell us what to wear? You think that you're better?
You all look fabulous, by the way. You're looking great. And sadly, no matter what any of us is wearing today, we all experience the fear of sexual violence. And half of us will, or have already experienced rape or sexual assault. I just want to acknowledge that we're on native land today, so thank you. Hi everybody, my name is Deb Sting, and I do my life's work at the Toronto Rape Crisis Centre. Multicultural Women Against Rape. I want to thank the organizers of the Slut Walk for doing this revolutionary work in our Toronto community. Inviting the TRCC Amwar to speak. I'm here today to talk about sexual violence and the reality and multitude of experiences survivors have. We are a diverse group. We come from all racial backgrounds, languages, ages, genders, abilities, sexual and gender identities, religious and family backgrounds. We are women, men, and trans people you know, and we experience the impact of sexual violence in many different ways. The culture of rape we live in perpetuates the ideas that survivors somehow asked for the violence they experienced. Thus, this culture of violence says that there is some way to prevent it. I am here to remind the Toronto police and all of us who perpetuate sexism against women that we are not responsible for sexual violence happening. We are women, and if we could prevent rape, we would.
Yeah.
The Toronto police continually judge, shame, and blame survivors by the very nature of believing and sharing with the community that there are ways in which you could prevent rape. For example, not dressing like a slut.
Oh.
As we already know, no matter what you wear, what your identities are, who you are, or where you are, there is a chance of experiencing sexual assault. Many survivors have reported to me that the Toronto police, when they went to the Toronto police, that they were not believed. I recently spoke to a woman who reported her known attacker to the police, and they replied that they would not be pressing charges because she had let the rapist into her home. Survivors are continually blamed for the violence perpetrated against us.
Shame.
We know that when it comes to sexual assault and domestic violence, that Toronto police have been known to seek out non-status women instead of regarding their claims of abuse as real and thus charging the perpetrator, but instead detaining and deporting these women and children. A national statistic reads, only 6% of sexual assaults are ever reported to the police.
No wonder.
That means that 94% of women do not report to the police.
I wonder why.
This happens for a number of reasons, but one I commonly hear from survivors is, when I did go to the police, they didn't believe me. And the police wonder why the other 94% are scared to talk to the police. No justice, no peace. That's right. The first person who comes under investigation when a claim of sexual assault is made is the first witness of the crime, the survivor, or as the police like to call them, the victim. Her credibility as a witness comes under the microscope. Her sexual history, her mental health, her medical history, her presentation, her actions on the night in question, and even what she wore, as we can clearly see in Toronto and Manitoba. Perpetuate a culture of rape and violence, and where survivors can be blamed for sexual violence occurring in their own homes, workplaces, bars, washrooms, and anywhere sexual assault happens. Yeah. No more! The Toronto Rape Crisis Centre Multicultural Women Against Rape has participated in many police trainings over the years. Is this the sum total of our work? That the Toronto police maintain that quote-unquote sluts get raped and that survivors are not the experts of our own lives, despite what we have shared with them in multiple trainings. The only people who can stop violence are the ones who act in violent ways and sexually assault women. Recently, a Toronto police officer, Brandon Fraser, 24 years of age, was charged with 2 counts of sexual assault. I asked the Toronto police, is there some way you could have prevented this? Thank you for listening.
I work as an educator and writer, engaging men and boys to promote gender equality and end men's violence against women. We should not have to be here today.
That's right.
No woman on our campuses should ever have to think twice about staying late at the library. In this city should ever have to watch over her drink at a bar. No woman in this province should ever have to worry that her no might be heard as a yes. No woman in this country should ever have to worry that what she wears could be seen as an excuse by some men, some judges, or some police officers. And no woman anywhere in this world should ever be stigmatized, be blamed, or be punished if a man sexually assaults her. Let us all be clear. Saying that what a woman wears is an invitation to be sexually assaulted.
Yes.
Is like saying that a bank is inviting people to rob it because they have so much money lying around. Can't you just see the scene in court? Sorry, Judge, I couldn't help myself. The bank was flaunting all of its money. You know, we're here today, though, not only to condemn, not only to educate, but we are here to celebrate. We are here to celebrate the women across Canada and around the world who have given a resounding no to all forms of sexual violence. You want to see heroism? Well, just look at the leadership of women in pushing for legal reform that, if we go back in Canada 20 years ago, led to laws that clearly said no means no and it takes yes to mean yes. Look at the heroism of women who, against tremendous opposition and ridicule, have provided services and support for women who have been assaulted or who have experienced other forms of violence at the hands of a man. If you want to see heroism, look at the women who have refused to be silenced and told the world about the crime they experienced. 96%! And look at the continued leadership of women who champion relationships that are free of violence or the threat of violence. We are here today because since the rise of feminism, women have celebrated their sexual autonomy, their right to sexual self-determination, their right to sexual pleasure, free of physical coercion, emotional coercion, governmental coercion, social or religious conversion. as you know, we do have a terrible problem here in Canada of dating violence, of different forms of sexual violence and assault. But here's the interesting thing. Most men, the majority of men in Canada, never commit sexual assault. But the majority of us have been silent. And through that silence, we allow the violence to continue. It's time for men to step up to the plate. Whether on our campuses, in our workplaces, in our families, in our places of worship, in the halls of government, and yes, in our police forces, it's time for men to speak out, to look at our attitudes, to look at our language, to look at our behavior and our jokes. Now, when we do this, when we say men have got to speak out, it's not to replace the leadership of women. It's not to say, all right, girls, we've got it under control, step aside. It's not that at all. Rather, it is because as men, we have a responsibility to speak out to other men. We have a responsibility to say to our brothers, our friends, our fathers and our sons, our colleagues at work, the guys we play hockey with, it's critical that we listen to the voices of women. It's important that we as men speak out. Why?
Into the mic!
Why? Because men look to other men to define what it means to be a man. It's critical that men speak out. And because men still have disproportionate power in those halls of government and our places of work and worship, men damn well better be speaking out. And that's one more reason why we're here to celebrate. Because as a man, I am thrilled to see so many of my brothers here today. I'm also inspired as a man to see men around the world raising our voices in solidarity with our sisters. Off and on over the last few years, I've been working in Turkey, including with police officers there. And I am inspired that a group of police officers have now taken on themselves, with the support of the UN and their government, to train every last police officer in Turkey about their responsibilities, their personal responsibilities to end violence against women. We need, as we speak out, to always get beyond the generalities. We can and must give clear messages to our brothers about what is and what isn't consent. You know, it's easy. It's easy for 99% of men to speak out in horror if they hear about a guy using a date rape drug. But I'll tell you what's harder. What's harder is that gray area. That gray area. And that's why I know when I speak on college campuses, what I'm always speaking about is how a guy knows if he's got consent or not, how he asks for it, how he